1. The War That Reached the Stars. By the year 2189, humanity had spread across 12 star systems. It wasn't easy. Every colony required years of preparation, advanced terraforming technology, and enormous resources. But humans had something other species often underestimated: persistence. Unfortunately, the universe wasn't empty. The first alien civilization humanity encountered was peaceful. The second was curious. The third started a war. They were known as the Velari Dominion, an ancient alien empire that controlled dozens of star systems. Their ships were elegant but deadly, their soldiers disciplined, and their culture built around survival and dominance. But the strangest thing about the Velari wasn't their technology. It was their belief about humans. According to their ancient records, humans were predators of the worst kind. Not just warriors, devourers. For centuries, Velari legends described humans as terrifying creatures who conquered worlds and consumed defeated enemies to gain strength. The stories were wrong, but the Velari believed them completely. And when the war began, that belief made things complicated. 2. Sergeant Daniel Hayes. Sergeant Daniel Hayes had been a soldier for 10 years. He had fought pirates, defended colonies, and survived 3 space battles. But he had never seen anything like the battlefield on Virex 3. The planet was a cold desert world with endless rock fields and violent storms. It had once been a Velari research colony before the war reached it. Now it was abandoned, or so Command believed. Daniel and his squad were sent to investigate an old Velari outpost buried in the cliffs. Remember, their captain said over the radio, "We're looking for technology and intel. No unnecessary violence." Daniel adjusted his rifle. Understood. The squad entered the dark research facility carefully. Broken alien machines covered the floors. Dim lights flickered along the walls. And the silence felt wrong. Motion sensor picking something up, one soldier whispered. Daniel raised his weapon. Hostile. Small, maybe hiding. They moved deeper into the facility. Eventually, they reached a sealed laboratory door. Daniel forced it open. Inside, someone screamed. 3. The terrified prisoner. The scream was high and frightened. In the corner of the room, curled against the wall, was a small alien girl. She looked young, maybe the Velari equivalent of a teenager. Her skin shimmered pale blue, and thin glowing patterns ran along her arms and neck. Her eyes were huge and silver, filled with terror. The moment she saw the human soldiers, she froze. Then she did something strange. She slowly closed her eyes and whispered something in her language. The translator in Daniel's helmet activated. Please make it quick. Daniel blinked. What? She kept her eyes closed. Please eat me quickly. I do not want to suffer. The entire squad went silent. Private Torres whispered over the comms. Did she just ask us to eat her? Daniel lowered his rifle. Yeah. The alien girl trembled, still waiting with her eyes shut. Daniel stepped closer carefully. Hey, we're not going to eat you. Her eyes opened slowly. Confused. You are human. Correct. And humans consume their defeated enemies. Daniel sighed. Where did you hear that? Everywhere. For a very awkward first conversation. The alien girl stared at them in disbelief. You do not eat prisoners? No. You do not absorb their strength? No. You do not harvest their organs for ritual meals? Definitely no. She looked genuinely confused. But our historical records say. Your historical records are completely wrong. The soldiers behind Daniel were trying not to laugh. The alien girl slowly stood up. She was smaller than Daniel expected, barely reaching his shoulder. My name is Lyris, she said carefully. Daniel nodded. Sergeant Daniel Hayes. She looked at his squad nervously. You truly will not consume me? Torres raised a hand. Ma'am, the only thing we're consuming today is bad military coffee. Lyris didn't understand the joke, but she seemed slightly less terrified. 5. The truth about Velari fear. As the squad secured the facility, Daniel tried to learn more about Lyris. She explained that she had been hiding in the research station for weeks after Velari forces abandoned the colony during a retreat. She had been left behind. Why didn't you leave with them? Daniel asked. I am not a soldier, she said quietly. I was a xenobiology assistant. Studying humans? Yes. That surprised him. Then you should know we don't eat people. She hesitated. The Velari High Council banned most human research centuries ago. Why? Because the early explorers who encountered your species never returned. Daniel frowned. Meaning? Our records say they were devoured. Torres whispered to Daniel. Or maybe they just crashed. Daniel nodded. Yeah, that seems more likely. But Lyris looked thoughtful. If the records are wrong, then the Dominion built an entire fear of humanity on false information. Daniel sighed. Wouldn't be the first time war started because of bad intel. 6. The moment of trust. Later that night, the squad prepared to return to their base. Lyris looked nervous again. Will you take me prisoner? Daniel shrugged. Technically, yeah. She looked scared. Will I be eaten later? Torres groaned. Seriously? Daniel knelt down to her level. Listen carefully. She watched him closely. No human is going to eat you. Not today. Not tomorrow. Not ever. She studied his face carefully, trying to detect deception. Finally, she nodded slowly. I believe you. Then her stomach made a loud noise. Daniel raised an eyebrow. Hungry? She hesitated. Very. Torres pulled out a food pack. Good news. You're about to experience humanity's greatest weapon. Lyris looked confused. What weapon? Military rations. 7. The first meal. Lyris stared at the ration pack suspiciously. You eat this? Unfortunately, Daniel said. She opened it carefully and sniffed the contents. Her eyes widened. This smells pleasant. Torres grinned. Wait until you taste it.
She took a small bite.
Then another. Then suddenly she was eating quickly. The soldiers watched with amusement. This is incredible, she said. You enjoy it? Daniel asked. Yes. She paused. Though I must admit something. What? I thought human food would taste like raw flesh. Torres laughed so hard he nearly dropped his rifle. 8. The human reputation problem. Over the next few days, Lyris stayed with Daniel's squad while they waited for transport. During that time, she asked endless questions about humans. Do you truly not hunt other intelligent species?
No.
Do humans practice ritual consumption of enemies?
No.
Have you ever eaten a Velari? Torres answered immediately. Nope. Never even tried. Daniel smacked his helmet. Torres.
What?
I'm being honest. Lyris looked thoughtful. If the Velari Dominion learns this truth, the war might end? Daniel suggested. She shook her head. Or the Dominion might panic. Why? Because they have feared humans for centuries. Daniel sighed. Yeah, admitting your greatest enemy isn't actually a monster can be awkward. 9. The rescue. 3 days later, the human evacuation ship arrived. But it wasn't alone. Velari warships appeared in orbit. Apparently, the Dominion had discovered humans were occupying the research station. The sky filled with laser fire. Daniel's squad rushed to the extraction point. Lyris looked terrified again. If my people capture you, they will believe the worst stories. Daniel shrugged. We'll deal with it. Suddenly, a Velari dropship landed nearby. Armed soldiers surrounded them. Their commander stepped forward. His voice was cold. "You will release the Velari citizen immediately." Lyris stepped forward nervously. "Commander, they did not harm me." He looked confused. "Of course they did not. They fed me." Silence. The Velari soldiers stared at Daniel. "You fed her?" Torres whispered. "Yeah, turns out aliens like chicken pasta too." The commander studied them carefully. Then he said something quietly. "This changes things." 10. A new story begins. Months later, the war between humanity and the Velari Dominion slowed. Not because of military victories, but because of one very confused alien scientist. Lyris testified before the Velari High Council. She explained everything. Humans didn't eat prisoners. They didn't absorb enemy strength. They didn't hunt intelligent species. They even shared food with frightened aliens. The revelation shocked the Dominion. And slowly, diplomatic talks began. One evening, Daniel received a message from an alien transport ship. When he arrived at the landing pad, Lyris stepped out. She smiled when she saw him. "I wanted to thank the human who refused to eat me." Daniel laughed. "You're welcome." She looked at him thoughtfully. "You know, Velari culture now calls humans something new." "Oh, yes. What's the new name?" She smiled. "The unexpected kind." Daniel considered that. Then he shrugged. "Honestly, that's better than space cannibals." And somewhere in the galaxy, an entire alien civilization began rewriting everything it thought it knew about humanity. Because sometimes, the scariest monsters in the universe turn out to be the kindest ones you'll ever meet.